middle school, region timpani, set B. All right, so they just called my letter. I came up. I'm going to set up my grip. I'm going to put the seat back. I'm going to set up my grip. I'm going to walk up to the instrument, get in a good hit spot. Then I'm going to set the seat up. We're in a good spot still. I can go ahead and set my feet on the pedals. Then I'm going to windshield wipe to the outside drums without looking. Am I in a good hit spot? This needs to be further away. It's very important on the top drum that you have a perfect hit spot, because that top drum is going to really poke out if you're going to in a bad hit spot. So make sure that top drum is not too close to you. You're going to hit close to the center, it's not going to sound good at all. So first line, so we're in 6/8, and we have 8th note, 2 8th note rest, and 8th note, 2 8th note rest. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So notice, because there's an 8th rest right after my 8th note, I've decided to mute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I have quarter notes on the E drum, and so that's going to be every other note. Remember, a quarter note is like a half note now. 1, 3, 5. Then I have a dotted half note roll. So that's essentially a full measure, obviously. It's forte piano, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike it with my left hand. Then I'm going to spread my hands out for the roll. Now, I'm not going to enter on that roll until about B3. 1, 2, 3, because the drum's going to ring on its own for a bit, and so I don't need to roll right away. So 1, 2, 3. Now, when you come in with that roll, try to get underneath where it's ringing. So don't come in 1, 2, 3, right? Come in 1, 2, 3. Now that roll should be, hopefully you don't even hear me rolling. Sneak in underneath, so that way it's more effective musically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and grow. Okay, make sure you're counting during that roll and don't get lost. Okay, make sure you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Because typically kids are late after that roll. On a roll, make sure you turn your hips at the last second and get to that good hit spot on the 23. Now you're going from a roll to an E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So notice, because of the rule we talked about, after a roll, I'm going to mute when I hit the other drum, so I don't hear. And this is still ringing, right? So next measure. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Pretty straightforward. I have the stickings in there for you. Now we have, last measure here, dotted note and 3, 4, 5, 6. You do kind of have a crossover, so make sure your arms are descending, and that way when you come over, you don't have to be too high here and get a bad sound. Get your hands really low. Low. Dotted note. Now, because that last note is a dotted note and it's going to speak for itself for a while, I'm probably going to mute that top drum. Because I have time, and then also it makes this sound very clear. Okay, so here we go. First line. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Okay, line 2, measure 6. So we have a dotted note 4, 6. Super easy. You're just going from a dotted quarter note, which is worth 3 8 notes, to a regular quarter note, which is worth 2 8 notes, and then an 8th note, which is worth 1 8 note. Now we have 6 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. So I start left lead, 1 and 2 and 3 and. I know that my last low drum is 4, 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. So you might want to practice just, because there is kind of a cross stroke, but you don't have to go over the top because both move. So they'll have to be kind of quick. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. That's going to take some time to make sure you really understand what you're doing there, so go slow. And then we have this dotted 8th note idea again. Dotted note and 3, dotted note and 6. Dotted note and 3, dotted note and 6. And the last rhythm, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And now be careful, 5 and 6 and start off the left because we're about to go to low drum. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. You have a lot of 16 notes on measure 7. So you really need a lot of piston stroke, and you need to make sure you fight for articulation. Otherwise, it could sound real washy. Okay, measure 10, line 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Now, when I go to 1, I'm going to mute this drum since it's the low drum and it wants to ring. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. So that's where the muting begins. Then we get into our muting section. So we have measure 11, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to mute both with right hands. 1. And then your left hand can move over and get ready for the 32. So when you go 5, 6, 1, go ahead and mute this drum because it's going to ring over. 5, 6, 1. So right on 1, you're muting the 29. 5, 6, 1. Then mute with the left hand on that 32. And then you're going to hit this drum again and mute the same drum. So 5, 6, mute, mute, hit, mute. So you might want to take these sections real slowly and really get the coordination of all this muting. So pickups to 11, 6 and 1, 6 and 1, 3, 5, 6, mute, left, mute. Now you're done. Then you have a simple 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then get both hands over and spread for this roll coming up. All right, here we go, line 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Okay, line 4, measure 14. So this is a challenging section because we go from rolls, which are spread apart, and I like to use American grip where I'm using rebound. Okay, not too high. And then you have and 3 and. So then you want to fight for articulation for that, so I kind of move my hands. I go roll, and 3 and, roll, and 3 and. Now these rolls are also not tied, so there should be a little bit of space. I do 4 or 5 strokes on this roll, and then I go back to my piston stroke French grip. So you go from relaxed strokes, quick relaxed strokes, to piston and 3 and. Okay, and you could even move a little bit closer to center to get a little more bite. You want to hear wah, pa, 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 wah, pa, pa, pa. So fight for articulation here. Then pretty simple 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Then you have 1, 2, and 3 dotted notes. So again, I'm going to move out for my roll. 1, 2, and 3, spread out for the roll and use legato. Now this roll is also not tied, so a little bit of space before you get to the left. Now that should work out because you're having to do a cross stroke with your left, so that should create space naturally. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Super easy. And then left lead. 1 and 2 and 3 and spread out for the roll again. So again, spread out for the roll and be legato. Okay, make sure, because it's going to the right hand on the next drum, that you put a little bit of space, don't connect it. Because you're going from a roll to a different drum and you have time, go ahead and mute. Line 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. All right, last line has an Excel, but let's go through the rhythms first. So you have 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So going from the 60 notes on the low drum to the high, you're really going to have to turn your body. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 5. Go ahead and mute on 5. And then this last sequence is kind of interesting. Left hand triplet, triplet. When you hit that 29 drum, mute the 32, and then on beat 2, mute that 29. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Region 17 Middle School Timpani Set B. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, go.